Bike Show, coming to you from Rubber, everybody's favorite bar, restaurant, and workshop. Tonight, I'm afraid we've got quite a bit of failure for you. Later on, I failed by wearing a onesie on national television. We all fail to finish an 8-hour endurance race, but first, Matt fails by absolutely crapping himself.
If I was to ask you to visualize a beast, you'd probably think of something like this. Scary stuff, but not quite as frightening as what might pop into your mind if I ask you to think of an orange beast. If, however, you're a KTM rider, then an orange beast can mean only one thing. And here it is, the Super Duke R. This was the Pirelli South African Bike of the Year in 2014, and deservedly so. Many of the journalists probably reported on this bike as being a bit of a beast. Well, that's a nickname that hasn't come from them. It came from KTM itself. When they were building this 1.3-litre, 180 horsepower V-twin naked madness machine, they were looking for a code name for the project. And so the beast was born. But I'm not here to ride this. I'm here to ride the first derivative of the Super Duke R, which is this, the Super Duke GT. Now, with a GT after its name, it's got to have some serious touring credentials. If you want to tour, you've got to have panniers and a roomy riding position. The GT has both covered. There's a manually adjustable screen for decent wind protection, lights that work even around corners, cruise control, and the totally essential heated grips. Braking features Brembo radial calipers and a very good ABS system that can be turned off or half off if you want safety on the front and plenty of sliding around at the rear. The frame and swing arm are pretty much the same as the R. The engine too, apart from a little top-end horsepower. The suspension is electronically adjustable and semi-active, and there's a range of riding modes that tame or unleash the full power delivery. It doesn't take very long. In fact, generally by the time you first reach fourth gear, you already know whether you're going to love or hate either of the Super Dukes. That's because you've just given yourself a bit of an unexpected fright. Nobody, no matter how experienced, expects quite the instant, massive grunt or the simply stupid levels of acceleration in any gear at just about any revs.
So, does it fulfill its touring role? Well, you'd have to say yes, with just a couple of little niggles, but obviously with an engine like this, which is a fantastic sport bike engine, it makes for effortless cruising and thus effortless touring. The suspension, the ability to deal with it electronically makes life very, very easy indeed. You can adjust for having a full luggage and a pillion on the back, so that's fantastic. This screen, it's not adjustable on the move, and the seat. Damn, what is it about KTM? They're really getting the hang of the touring stuff apart from your bottom. I think everyone in Austria has obviously got a bottom made out of granite or something, because this seat is ridiculous. Or they just want you to have a look in the Power Sports catalogue and spend more money for a proper seat.
The semi-activeness of the GT suspension means it adjusts the damping on the fly, reacting to road conditions and how hard you're riding. The different presets really make a difference too. On comfort, the ride quality is great over the bumps, if a little soggy, but set it to street or sport and everything noticeably firms up, ready for action. So the engine is still amazing, it can do the touring and commuting thing, it's got all the goodies to be a decent sport bike too. But has KTM made it so sensible that they've tamed the beast? Or is it still there?
Oh yes, indeed, the beast. It still lives in here. All you need to do is fiddle a little bit with the multi-adjustable electronics and the beast will be released. And what a beast it still is. It's lost a couple of horsepower at the top end, but it's got a million, billion, trillion torquey things. It is quite simply one of the most exceptional motors in the world ever. And it helps, of course, that they've stuck a quick shifter on it, which is great for sport riding, but also pretty handy for touring. So it's basically the Super Duke R made for grown-ups like me who got sore backs and wrists and things like that.
The KTM Super Duke GT, then, in conclusion, is absolutely bloody marvellous.
Now, I'm quite impressed you got Donald Trump in there. That's quite
Cutting-edge political satire with a bike show, yeah.
Fantastic. Now, of course, you were adhering to the speed limits on that test.
Did you notice?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, it did feel a little bit like riding the Isle of Man. And that's because this, when you get down to it, this is basically a super bike with a set of high handlebars and some panniers.
It is insane.
It is very much insane.
Now, hang on, you said that with a few little tweaks of the electronics, you can change all sorts of things. That sounds all simple, but it's a bit more than that, isn't it?
It's an absolute pain in the arse. Okay, I tell you what, when you start this, I'm going to show you. Actually, I'm going to probably pull some wires out of stuff here. Yeah,
Matt's walking.
I'm trying to walk. Okay, I've knocked something over
nearly
nearly.
killed himself.
What happens when you want to go for a ride with your mates? A normal procedure, you turn the ignition on. That's a pretty quick kind of startup procedure, but Donovan knows and appreciates this as well. There's got a fantastic system on here that you can turn the brakes to super motard, which keeps it on the front, takes it off at the rear. Great, fantastic. They've also got traction control. Now, if you like to pull the odd wheelie, traction control can sometimes get in the way. So when I or Donovan or someone wants to set off on a ride who really wants to enjoy it, we've got a horrible, lengthy process to go on. Turn the key on as normal. Menu, press once to get the right thing, press again to get to a sub-menu, traction control, and it tells me to keep the button pressed. Remember, your mates are busy disappearing up the road now. Release button, okay, that's done. Then I have to press it again, I have to scroll down to ABS mode. I'm going to hold the button in.
Is this going to take long?
Yeah, well, your mates are actually having lunch now, aren't they? And now we can start. What's that, 30, 40 seconds? What a waste of time. Now, KTM, very cheekily, will sell you what they call a dongle, which basically you plug into the brain under the seat, and it can leave everything turned off. The reason they don't do it, I think, Don, is because Americans like to sue everybody for everything. So they need to make sure that you consciously turn everything off.
I've got a counter to that, BMW and Ducati. You set them once, when you turn the key off, they stay there. And how many times have they been sued?
I mean, this isn't the only bike in its class, though, is it?
No. There's two other main ones it's going up against, the Ducati Multistrada and BMW's S1000 XR, which is there.
That's there.
Fantastic, but we've already decided, we did a test last year, we prefer this, don't we?
We do prefer
So,
that, yes.
out of this one and the KTM, which is it?
I would have that one, orange one.
Yeah,
Well,
I'd have to say I'd have that one.
It's slightly more mental and is probably a worse tourer, but yeah, I'd have the KTM, absolutely.
Well,
On which point,
let's
I
look at
would
the iron
give it
specs. What have you given it?
4.5.
Where does it lose the half?
4.5 Tom hearts. It loses the half because the screen's a pain. That whole starting procedure is ridiculous. The seat's a plank. And that's about it, really.
I think on any other bike you would have given it 2. So it actually, with all those faults, the fact that it's still got 4.5.
Look, it's got possibly, apart from the H2R, the most certainly, I think, the best street V-twin in the world.
Yeah, true, and it costs $222,000.
Well, it doesn't actually. It costs 224 because you need to spend £2,000 on the dongle.
And then buy a new seat.
And buy a new seat, that's true.
Yeah. So
we better go to an ad break, actually, because I'm going to end up giving it 3.
It's going down.
It's a brilliant bike as long as you've got the bottom covered in buffalo hide or something. See you soon.